I just want to talk about getting started in sales and my journey, which has now allowed me to move to Dubai. It's been a hell of a ride. It's been a long time, and I've worked really fucking hard to get here. You know, looking back in 2022, even 2021, when I set this goal, it felt so far away. I had no idea that how I was going to make money online where I wouldn't be stuck in a location. I didn't want to be in Ireland. I don't really drink alcohol. If you don't drink alcohol in Ireland, there's not a huge amount that you can do. I knew Dubai was going to be the place. I was working in Prepaid Power, which is an electricity company. I was selling electricity for really next to nothing. I was making, €2,000 a month, which might seem like decent amounts to some of you, but when the expenses or the living expenses in Ireland are so high, that makes it pretty useless. All you can do is really spend it on fun, because you're never going to rent, you're never going to have a mortgage, which is most people's normal goal. And I remember just sitting in that office, got that job, dropped out of college. I didn't tell my parents for a couple of months, and I just got a job thinking I'll be rich. I'll make money in 6 months and it won't matter. But obviously I did, that was a rough conversation with my parents of being like, I've left college, I didn't tell you, and I have no fucking money. And so that didn't go well, but they believed in me and they backed me this whole way, and they've helped me get here, with their support and everything, and constantly believed in me too that I would do it. And yeah, I mean, when I found, obviously I left Prepaid Power to start a business which failed, got back into sales, selling POS systems, which is like, card processing machines. And that was when I met a friend of mine who we're still very good friends today. He works for Alex Hormozi now, and he introduced me to high ticket sales. He was younger than me. I was at the time 21, 22. He was 19, and we met through a Discord group. And he said to me, I said, look, how much are you making with this high ticket sales stuff? Because that's what he said he was doing. And he said, I'm making 7,000 a month, which for me back then, I was like, what the fuck, 7,000 a month? That would change my life. And I said, listen, it was like a Wolf of Wall Street scene. I said, listen, if I can get a job in this, in the next coming weeks, I'll get the job. I'll do the interview. Once I get yes for the job, I'll leave. And very luckily, I met someone in that same Discord group that worked for Diman Gaji. He gave me the details for the interview, like the interview process, the video I had to send in. And at the time, I had a shitty HP laptop. I had to do it on my phone. And I almost didn't get the job because it specifically said to record on a laptop. But if I did that, the camera quality would have been shit. So I recorded it on my phone. I still have that video today. I still watch it sometimes. And I managed to get the job as a DM setter. Now, at the time, starting off with Eman, I was making, 1,000 a month, like if even 1,200 around there, dollars, by the way. So once I got that job, I got that on the Saturday. On Monday, walked back into my job, my corporate job, handed in my laptop and said, listen, I can't really tell you why I'm leaving. It's kind of strange and there's no explanation for it, but I have an opportunity that I can't miss and I need to leave now. And he was like, as in Colin's sick? I was like, no, as in leave the job. I'm leaving today. And he was just taken aback. At the time, I was the best rep on the floor. I was number one. I'd only been there a month. And he was like, I've never really seen this before, but if you say so, okay, I like you. I think you're a nice guy. Obviously, it's not ideal for me because he was the manager. So obviously, him losing a person on the floor isn't good for him. But he understood and he said, I wish you the best and best of luck. Hopefully I see you on the news for the right reasons is what he said, which I thought was funny. Then that's where it all began. I rented a room in my friend's house. I worked like a dog, 16-hour work days for, 1,200 a month. And I quickly became one of the best setters, if not the best. Broke the record for setting, got 44 sets in a day, which for an offer like his is possible, but nobody had ever done it before. The best was like 16. And that's because I just wasn't sleeping. I knew that if I had this opportunity, I didn't know when another one was going to come again. And they say you get 2 or 3 life-changing opportunities in your life. I fucking knew this was one of them. So I did everything I could. I overworked and outworked everybody. I became the best setter, then became a closer, which was very competitive all the time. I then became a sales manager and started managing SDRs, intern SDRs. So my job became managing 30 setters at a time that were coming in. I would pick the best ones to become permanent staff and I would only close their deals. So I was doing a lot of work. Now with Eman, it was only 1,500 was the ticket size. So a sale for me wasn't worth very much. And I knew that I had to leave to kind of move the next step in my career. I invested in sales coaching, left Eman's offer, and then the journey kind of began from there in terms of getting more experience and becoming a better closer. I worked for Grow Channels for a brief period of time. That's really when I started getting my teeth kicked in of like what selling a $7,000 offer was like. It was very different. The leads were a lot colder and it really tested my ability. I knew that I had to train. I then got a role as a setter again for the guy I invested in. His name is Bill Walsh. Invested with him and got a role on his team. And I kind of just went from there. And then I got more closer roles, got more closing experience with him. Obviously he was teaching sales coaching. So I really doubled down. I was working every day, training every day. And now I'm in a position, fast forward, a year where I've collected somewhere around 2.7 million cash. I'm living in Dubai. I'm making $20,000 a month. And all it took me was, a few years, less than it would have taken me to do a college degree. For anyone who's watching this, you're probably thinking, can I do this? Can I get into this position? And the answer is, it doesn't matter whatever you do, whatever it is online, if it's e-com, if it's sales, if whatever it is, the people who get the results are just the ones that don't quit. Like I've had lots of ups and downs. I've had periods in, these 3 years where I almost felt like quitting. I wasn't making that much money. Things took it down until I spent all my commissions. I adjusted to the life of making a certain certain amount and that I really couldn't afford. And then when shit hit the fan, I had nothing to kind of push through the storm. So the only reason that I've done this is that I just didn't quit. You know, there's people that are better than me, there's people that are worse, and the people who get the results are just the ones that don't stop. That's really the biggest lesson for me now, and going into business and, you know, building my own one instead of working for someone else. It's really just persistence. It's getting the experience of working for other people, becoming a closer, learning the most important skill that there is, which is sales. You can use it in any part of your life, in relationships, in interviews, in meeting new people, whatever it is, it's always sales. And knowing how to use it and the basic psychology behind it will just get you anywhere you want. I never would have imagined when I was 19, 20 that I'd be here at 24, sitting in this apartment right now, looking at a long-term lease and facing the marina with a full almost 360 view of the entire marina here in Dubai. I dreamt every night about this, and here I am. And I just wanted to make this video for anyone else who's starting off in this journey, who's struggling, who feels like they might not see the other side of it. If you stick it out and you're clever about your inputs and you learn from others, you will get there. It's just the way it's always worked. There has to be winners and losers, but if you've noticed, the winners just don't stop. There's people that are less smart than you. There's people that have less ability than you, but because they had the conviction in themselves, they invested in themselves, they worked more than others, they're the ones that got the results. That's the reason why they are where they are. That's the reason why I'm sitting in this chair here right now. I'm not special. You know, there's a lot of people that would have met me in Ireland that wouldn't have ever thought that I'd be here. And for most, that's always going to be the case. But you do the work, you do the right things, you will get whatever you want. Whether that's sales, whether it's anything, pick whatever it is, set a goal and reverse engineer what that goal costs. So if you want to live in Dubai, how much do you have to make? What does your apartment cost? What does the car that you want to drive? What does that cost? What watch do you want to wear? What do you want to do on a daily basis? Do you want to go to restaurants? Find out what that is, reverse engineer how much you have to make, and then find the vehicle that you need to use to get there. For me, sales was the best. Sales was the easiest to get into. I could learn from others. I mean, that's why I got here. One of the guys that I know quite well, we were very good friends, JP Egan. When he came to me, I was kind of the first of the friend group locally that was making money online. And he was like a brother to me. I mean, we're still close to this day. He asked me, he's like, how do I get into sales? And I said, well, first, obviously you do some work, show that you're actually serious about it, and I'll give you some advice. He started applying, took a few months. Well, he started applying. He started applying for roles, landed a few roles as a setter and then a closer. Not great ones. I mean, one offer was making like 15 grand a month, and it was a real estate offer. He was really struggling, which of course he would be. The offer was quite bad. And he asked me, he's like, what advice would you give me to be able to get to the point where I can, you know, really start closing full time and getting a good offer? And so I said to him, it's like, well, if you want to learn sales coaching, you want to learn how to sell, go to a sales coaching offer and go for the biggest one. The ones where you can stay in that offer and you can ascend. So 7th level being the best option for him, because you learn obviously the sales coaching and you get reps. There's a lot of calls to take as many calls as you want. I mean, obviously if you don't close, you'll get fired, but there's room for you to either be demoted into a setter, or if you're doing well, you can take more and more calls instead of having to take work for multiple companies as a contractor, and that it gets messy. Then I said to him to do the exact opposite of what I did for, you know, that 1 year, which was focusing too much on learning from others, because I had already done that. And I said, when you go in, the mistake that I made with Iman was that I wanted to become the best setter before I became the best closer. And for him, I said, become the best closer by making it known as quickly as possible that you want to set in a way that will get you to become a closer as quickly as possible. He did that. He got on the coaching calls for the company, and within 2 months, he was the second best rep, making 30,000 a month at 19. And about 3 or 4 months in, he was making 40 to 50 grand in commissions alone, take home per month. And it changed his life. He just bought a Porsche, I think it was last month. And so there's really no limit to this. You know, you set your mind on what you want to hit, you set your mind on what you want to do, and you'll achieve it. And it feels great to be able to help others like JP achieve that goal. For someone who didn't know that this even existed before, you know, and this is the same thing for you guys watching this. Where could you guys be in 6 to 12 months if you just decided that you were going to do something different? Because college is never going to get you there. Sure, you might become a doctor, a vet, you can make a few $100,000 a year in your 30s or 40s. Is that really what you want? Would you rather not just try in your 20s? Like for me, I'd rather lose, have nothing, go to Thailand or whatever it is, Romania even, and just live for cheap, make 4,000 or 5,000 a month, drive an okay car, have a sick apartment, by the way, it's super cheap over there, or just win and have everything. It's nothing in between. I don't want a normal job where I'm making a few grand a month. I'd rather have nothing. I'd rather be on social welfare and have my time at least, or just go after everything. At least go and aim for everything. Aim for all of it. Win. Get what you can. If it doesn't work, you can always fall back on that. You have nothing to lose. With college, you're going to have a mediocre life. Not to say you always will. Some people, I mean, college might be for them. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go, but for a lot of us, I would say who's watching this, there's a reason why you're watching this video. You know that college isn't for you. And sure, maybe finish your degree if you're almost finished. You know, I was 3 years in. I dropped out. Do I regret it? No, but I probably should have just dropped out sooner. I would say just go after it. Save some money, get a job, save 8 or 10 grand, and then just go all in. Go all in on this. If there's people that are 20 or 24, whatever age you are, that are, you know, that are doing this, then you can do it too. The only thing that's holding you back is you. And I promise you that if you commit to this, it will change your life, like it did for me. I'm 24 in Dubai. I'm going to live here for the rest of my life because I made a decision to go all in. At the time, I was shit scared. I didn't know if I was going to make it work, and I've had sleepless nights. I've had nights where a tear may have fallen out of my eyes because I took that chance. I'm here now. It was all so worth it. Every single bit of pain, every sacrifice, the lack of going out. I didn't go out for 2 years. I didn't leave my house for 2 years. You know, I didn't go nightclubbing, I stopped drinking, I didn't have any relationships, I lost a lot of my friends, and I was alone for a lot of it. But all it took was a few years, and here I am, and now I can have all of it back plus better. So that's all I wanted to say for today. The first video of many. There's gonna be a lot more to come. I want to see a lot of guys that are watching this that, you know, if they watch my stuff and they implement it, that I want to see them win it. I want to see them get the same results as me, if not better.